Hey everyone, I'm Evan Portman with Emerging Civil War, and I'm here with Brian Matthew Jordan, and we're just going to ask a couple questions about your talk. And one of the first questions that comes to mind is about the immigrant, experience of the Civil War, which is something that's near and dear to my heart. What, in your opinion, how does the immigrant experience kind of change for groups like the German Americans or the African Americans by 1864?
So by 1864, of course, the unit that I talked about, the 107th Ohio, has experienced both horrific casualties and incredible nativism, both within the Army and in the press. And by 1864, that begins to take a toll. Physical and emotional toll. These men are exhausted as they're marking time in the South. They are looking for an end to the war at any cost, and they feel as though they belong, but they don't. Right? They're kind of caught between cynicism and conviction, duty and dereliction.
And how does this concept of nativism and kind of the political implications play out in 1864 with the looming election of 1864 in the background?
So it's a really interesting question, because we often think of German Americans, of ethnic Germans, as just kind of lockstep Republican voters. And in fact, the ethnic German community is much more divided. Many of the men who fought in the 107th Ohio were very recently arrived German immigrants who actually associated with the Democratic Party in the 1850s, because they were still suspicious of the Republicans for their dalliances with know-nothingism. So I think it's a caution to us that whenever we look back at any group of historical actors, right, to think of their complexities and not just to immediately label the German immigrants, or to use Karl Schurz as the stand-in for all ethnic Germans, right? To think that there's this broad spectrum, and that many of these folks, especially soldiers, they're not thinking of national politics in the way that we think of it today as Republican versus Democrat, or these ideologies aren't baked in. They're moving back and forth as the events of the war themselves move, right? The soldiers in the 107th Ohio are decrying Copperheadism in 1862 to 63, and then are voting for George McClellan in 1864.
Wow.
They move with events. They're not so baked in and locked in as we are today in our politics.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about this yesterday in our panel, but we have a tendency to compartmentalize things as historians, and it's interesting to kind of see the nuance,
That's right.
of that. So changing gears a little bit, what does Emerging Civil War mean to you when you think of ECW? What comes to mind?
Well, what comes immediately to mind is the incredible success of this organization, what it has accomplished in 10 years to have assembled this community of scholars and of enthusiasts, the book series, the symposium, the public historians, and academic historians that this group has mentored and fostered. I think of it as just an incredible community that's accomplished so much, and that really gives back and creates and ensures that the stories that we tell and love and care about so much will continue. So that's what it means to me.
Great, awesome. Well, thanks again for your time, and we'll see you all online and on the battlefield.